Miss Dolly Levi Bourne Gallagher of Social Introductions. Ladies and gentlemen of excellent family, introduced under the most respectable conditions in an atmosphere of elegance and refinement. Object, matrimony. Unfortunately, I won't be able to offer my usual lightning service today, as I have a previous appointment in Yonkers, New York, arranging the second marriage of Mr. Horace Vandergelder, the well-known half-a-millionaire. As my late husband, Ephraim Levi, always said, that means he's got at least 60,000 cash. But I'll do my best to have you carried over somebody's threshold before the week is out. Now, I might also mention I am available for financial consultations, instruction in the guitar and mandolin, short distance hauling. Yes. Varicose veins reduced.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone. I am Donna Lynn Hilton, producer for Goodspeed Musicals, and welcome to Greatspeed. I'm joined here by my colleague, Dan McMahon, our Director of Marketing and Public Relations. Hi, Dan.
Hi, darling. Good evening, everybody. We've got a great show tonight. This is you saw from that opening, it was such a great production.
And we've been in the virtual green room chatting with our guests, so we're going to get to it and bring them in to say hi. Just a reminder that while our beautiful Opera House is dark due to the COVID-19 crisis, we are happy to bring you this weekly look back at some of our and your best beloved productions over the many years. And tonight we're revisiting our 2011 Hello, Dolly.
And before we bring in our guests, if you have questions or comments, you can enter them in the comment section on the right side of your screen, or the number's there already. You can text them to 860-638-7157. That'll be there, and I think I already saw it in the right hand of your screen also. Yeah. So either way, you can get questions in to us or to the actors, and we'll do our best to field them.
And comments, we can just post your comments. If you want to say hello or have a comment, put it in there and we'll try to get it up on the screen. I want to give a special shout out to our artistic assistant, Michael Fling, who has been the magician behind the scenes, pulling all the levers and doing all sorts of wonderful things to make sure that we all see this this evening and have a great time. So thank you, Michael. So let's welcome our guest. Please say hello to director Daniel Goldstein, Goodspeed's Dolly Levi, Klea Blackhurst, and Tony Sheldon, who portrayed Horace Vandergelder in our production. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How's everybody doing?
Good. Great. I'm in Australia, so the world is still here. It's tomorrow over here.
It's good to know that tomorrow is coming.
Exactly.
It's good to know that.
It's just a
These
day
days,
away.
who knows?
We learned that.
And Klea, where are you?
I'm in New York City, in Harlem, with my books and my pens and papers and I'm fine.
Well, you're looking great, so quarantine becomes you.
Well, thank you. I've given myself 3 haircuts. I couldn't bear it. I took my dog's thinning shears and just went to town. That's the only thing I'm kind of really ready for is a haircut. But other than that, I'm fine. I'm never working again. But that's
true for all of us.
I know. But other than that, I find quarantine is just it's an adventure. I mean, who's ever done this? It's like completely unlike anything. So I'm happy to be here. I mean, it's fun to be invited to some place that you want to go with people that you love. I mean, we'd never get together. We could never plan as a dinner and pull this off. So
right.
Anyway, good to see you.
And Danny, where are you and how are you?
I am in Western Massachusetts in a house on top of a hill, about 25 minutes north of Northampton, Massachusetts, where the 5 colleges are and all that stuff, Amherst. I'm here with my family, my kids, and my wife. And we're farming. We're doing a lot of farming.
Have you planted a garden?
No.
I planted a garden.
No, everyone's like, oh, I'm reading. I'm catching up on the thing. With 2 kids, I'm busier now. I haven't had a moment off since March. I'm like, I've taken up running literally so I could have a half hour to myself every day.
Hey, Donna Lynn and I had so much fun looking back at these B-roll clips and reliving this show. And, we have so many to share. I think we should get going with it right away. We opened with Dolly's entrance into the theater, which who can forget that? I'm sure some people still have those cards that you gave them, Klea. And our next clip is showing our introduction to Horace. So let's take a look at Mr. Vandergelder's entrance.
Marrying artists. Foolishness. 99% of the people in this world are fools. And the rest of us are in great danger of contamination. Why, even I was once young, which was foolish. I got married, which was foolish. And was poor, which was more foolish than anything else. Then my wife died, which was foolish of her. I grew older, which was sensible of me, and became rich, friendless, and mean, which in Yonkers is about as far as you can go. Oh, I know what you're wondering now. Why would a man of so much good sense be planning anything so foolish as getting married again? The answer's simple. This house, without a woman, would be an empty shell. And pretty dirty, too. It takes a woman all powdered and pink to joyously clean out the drain in the sink. And it takes an angel with long golden lashes and soft rested fingers for dumping the ashes. Yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life. That frail young maiden who's constantly there for washing and brewing and shoeing the mare. And it takes a female for setting the table and weaning the Guernsey and cleaning the stable. Yes, it takes a woman, a dainty woman, a sweetheart, a mistress, a wife. Oh yes, it takes a woman, a fragile woman, to bring you the sweet things in life.
Beautiful. Brings back the memories.
All those faces, everybody was so, all those guys, it was so well cast, if I do say so myself, but everybody's face was so unique. Like everybody was handsome, but like unique within that, seeing Will and Frankie,
Drew and Jack.
Drew,
yeah, all that. It's like, yes, it was such a good group, such an enjoyable, and not every theater experience is filled with people that like you genuinely like.
Exactly.
I have a rule when casting that no one can look like anybody else, because it feels like we should be surrounded by human beings rather than chorus boys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also I learned once, I didn't do this once, but if I don't know a person or someone else in the show and the creative team doesn't know a person, we call them, because you don't want to cast crazy people.
Oh yeah.
And that to me is so much more important, especially when you're at a place like Goodspeed, which is its own little village.
Yeah.
You really have to formulate this community. And I think of all three of the shows I did on the Goodspeed main stage really formed that kind of community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a great job.
Well, especially because it was the middle of summer and everyone was outside and having barbecues all the time.
Yep.
They made that music video.
Oh, that's right.
Which we didn't remember until today. Everybody should look that up. We didn't remember it until today, and we didn't have time to grab it and drop it in here.
Send it to someone.
Maddie Apple, send it. Post it. Maddie Apple, if you're watching, post it in the comments so everybody can see.
That like Michael.
Hi, Katie.
Oh, hi,
Katie.
That
bless her heart.
wanted to be in the video.
Right.
Like, you have cheese with his antique car, asking if he could be in it. It's like, I mean, the whole thing was a family. So
It was. Danny, the physical production, because I want people to just be paying particular attention as we go through these clips to how magnificent, because this is, Hello Dolly is a massive show. If people saw it on Broadway, they know how massive it can be. But we really made it all fit on the Goodspeed stage with our wonderful designers, Adrian Jones, Wade Laboissonniere, I'm probably killing his name, and Jason Lyons. They did a beautiful job with it. How we end up at that
your
set
husband, Jay, who
and my husband, Jay.
Let's not forget Jay.
Okay.
Well, when you're doing Dolly on a stage that has no room, you really have to work backwards from the staircase, because the only thing you have to deliver in Dolly is allow Klea to come down the staircase. So we really worked backwards from there and figured that out. And then all the rest of it was really, that was me. Sorry. I haven't figured out how to turn on
One demerit.
I haven't figured out how to turn off the mail noise. So you work backwards from the staircase, and we were able to do that. And then, you know, it was about figuring out clever ways of having pieces of scenery double. So in the scene you just saw, those bookshelves, or the shelves with all the stuff for Mr. Van de Gelder's shop, there was a really cool moment where we were playing around with the set, that model in Adrian's studio. And I went, wait, what if we did this? And I took them and turned them over, and then they became the seats on the train. So it was about using stuff both for economy of scale, because there's just not that much room, but also the delight of seeing a show at Goodspeed is seeing that kind of invention and how you get to use the space. And one of the things that Kelli Barclay, our choreographer, is so good at is taking a group of 10 ensemble members and making it feel like there's 400 of them. And that's using the space and she's really big into having people go around and then come back around again. We did 3 of them together on the main stage like that. And it was really fascinating to watch her work.
And
good segue, Dan.
Kelli, yes, perfect. You know, we're going to take a look at Put On Your Sunday Clothes. I mean, this is one of the major production numbers. And I think it illustrates everything you just said, Danny.
Put on your Sunday clothes when you feel down and out. Step down the street and have your picture took. Just like a dream, your spirit seemed to turn about. That Sunday shine is a certain sign that you feel as fine as you look. Beneath your parasol, the world is all a smile.
Beautiful.
I did not do that on purpose. I did not talk about that exact moment.
I know.
You told me nothing.
That's what's so great about these little reunions.
I forgot that moment of like the train signs going by that like I asked for, and they were like, well, we'll try. I was like, I think it'll be so cool. You could see it, and then it's this fight and dival going by. It's great.
And the lighting too, you can see the train.
Yeah.
That I love.
And it never, you can't hear it in that.
The whole
can't hear it in the video clip.
To set it in the train station, to set it essentially in Grand Central. Because for me, Dolly is a musical that's not, I mean, everyone thinks of it as this big, bright, boisterous musical comedy. But to me, it's about all these people who are on the precipice of not living anymore. It's about widows and widowers and people who are about to sort of give up their lives to do nothing with them. And it's about this moment of embarking, this moment of release, and that's the train station works so well for that.
Tony,
can I just chime in there? I mean, I think it was very brave of Daniel in the casting, because a lot of people were surprised that I got cast as Horace, and that we went a different way with Horace, that he wasn't just a one-note grouch. And we talked a lot about his relationship with Dolly and how did these people know each other. And Daniel and Klea came up with the most wonderful idea that Dolly had been a friend of Horace's wife when they were all young. And so she'd always been around. And perhaps Horace had a crush on her, but he was married and very much in love with his wife. But there was this other attractive woman who was around. And so they had a history. And even though when we first meet them in the show, they're very antagonistic because Dolly is a damned exasperating woman, I made a choice that every time Klea and I were in a scene, that I always was physically very, very close to her. That it was like there was a heat between them that was unacknowledged. And it just gave certainly me a subtext to play, that I was sort of like, you know, this woman is gorgeous, but you know, I can't be in the same room with her. And wonderful Harvey Evans, who has played Barnaby with 3 Dollys, you know, Betty Grable and Eve Arden and Martha Ray, I think. He came and saw the show at Goodspeed, and he said it was the first time the last scene made any sense, when Horace suddenly turns around out of nowhere and says, "Marry me." He said, because if you play Horace as a one-note grouch, it literally comes out of left field. But he said, we could see there was something going on from the very first scene. And he said, and so it all made sense. And thanks to Daniel and Klea, we had that wonderful trajectory to play.
Well, it's a perfect example of what we have to do at Goodspeed, because you can't play the broad stroke at Goodspeed. You have to play the truth at Goodspeed to be successful. Klea.
Can I ask one thing? I don't know if I have these figures right, but you can correct me for anybody listening, because this kind of blew my mind, that one of the wings is about 6 feet and one of the wings is 4 feet, and it's like 12 feet front to back, and there's no fly space. It's like a shade going up. It just ends right there, and there's nothing on a trap underneath.
It's most of what you said is true.
Which means everything that happens at Goodspeed is an illusion. If in the rehearsal room we had those giant columns for, you know, that you just saw in the train station, and I thought to myself, these are gonna go. I mean, we'll continue to like dance around these, but and I use dance very loosely, but this is gonna go. And then there they were, and they were an illusion of making it look huge when it wasn't. And Kelli also, instead of having things go this way, things go this way.
Yeah.
You know,
and
so
we see throughout this her do that thing where people dance off stage and dance back on stage.
But there was also an intimate part of the show, and I'd love to highlight another one of our exceptional cast members, Ashley Brown, who Broadway's. I know. I hope you're out there, Ashley.
Broadway's Ashley Brown.
And I prefer to refer to as Goodspeed's Irene Malloy. But let's take a look at Ribbons Down My Back.
And so I'll try to make it easier to find me in the still
people. This cast, it just keeps coming. And I want to tell you, I didn't know Klea. She came in to audition for us and blew us away. And I remember Danny and I were like, yeah, her. I had fallen in love with Tony Sheldon when Jay and I saw Priscilla in London. I had fallen in love with you. And when Paul Hart said, what about Tony Sheldon? I was like, yes. I just remember being stupid. And then Ashley Brown, it's just over the moon.
And she came into audition. I also have a no offer policy because audition. Like,
you need to see people. People need to meet you.
See what you got. See if you match.
Yeah.
And she came in, not only did she come in, but she had just come in from, I think, flying in from a concert, like with her little rolly bag. I think she was just coming from the airport. And was like, y'all, I just came in. I don't know if I'm warmed up. Y'all, listen.
And she sang Ribbons Down My Back, didn't she?
Yeah, she was incredible. It was a really remarkable group of people.
Yeah.
And started a lot of actual relationships. Even my assistant on that show, Jackie Bradley, who is now an amazing writer and director in her own right, is like still a dear close friend and collaborator. And the guy that she started dating during that time is now like her life partner, and they're together and make art together, and he and I make stuff. It's like there was a lot going on.
Yeah. I was thrilled to see Klea in the at the audition because and Klea was the only other person I read with or saw, but I had Klea's albums in Australia, so I was a fan. And as soon as I saw her there, I went, oh my god, I hope she gets the part. I hope she
What was really important in terms of casting was that Dolly is often cast as a much older person, and I was really going by the notes in the Matchmaker, the Thornton Wilder play that it's based on, in which she is barely 40. And when Barbra Streisand did it, she was 27. And so I wanted to really not have the parade pass by already. Like, it felt like there has to be a real sense of youth and vigor to these people. And I think, Klea, you certainly, brought that to it.
Yeah, it's funny because Don Pippin, who is the original vocal arranger, and did he conduct it? No, that was Peter Howard. He's Mame, but anyway, worked very closely with Jerry Herman, and he came and saw it, and he said, like, you were wonderful. Of course, you're way too young, but actually, I was about 7 or 8 years older than Carol Channing when Carol Channing did it. Like all of that age stuff is a perception.
It's just that's who they keep casting, because Carol Channing did it till she was 400.
Right.
Exactly. 5,000. I mean, yes, exactly. And so I think, to speak to Tony's, what Tony said a minute ago, from my point of view, the Horace was a wonderful choice, because it's like, she's out there making all these deals for people and making these matches and whatever else she does. But it's sort of like, you know what? I'm keeping Horace for myself. I mean, he's rich, but look at him. You know what I mean? I'm not going to have to settle for anything. This is going to be terrific. And I think we decided that too about the relationship, because he constantly refers to her as Dolly Gallagher. Dolly Gallagher, as though that is her name.
Oh.
Name. So he's known her long enough to have the familiarity of, like, knowing her maiden name and feeling free to call her that when he's exasperated with her. Yeah. So, yeah, it was probably, I'm going to say, like, it's like the biggest thing that's ever happened to me. I mean, like one of the gigantic things as a career guidepost, to have it be Goodspeed and to have it be Dolly. And I mean, it was just such an opportunity for me to I just couldn't believe my good fortune.
I think we should look at some more, Dan, don't you think?
Yeah.
Oh, I do too, because the song coming up, speaking of our good fortune, one of the most stirring, it's the finale of Act 1, and I think it highlights you, Klea, but it's one of the best in the show.
Go for it.
Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna go and taste Saturday's highlife. Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna get some life back into my
Whoa.
It looks like there are 50 people on the stage.
We literally had to
And there are
time how
only-
long it took someone to get off stage, run downstairs, through the green room, up the stairs, through the lobby, and into the house to see if they could make it to get for that entrance, like running full
Yeah.
speed.
Just amazing.
And it was
Beautiful.
21 people. I counted while we were looking at the clip.
Yeah.
I pulled my program out and counted. It was a cast of 21, including swings.
It was
Wow.
remarkable.
Easy.
I would say it was really fun. Not to say anything about any other production, but it was really fun throughout the run of Dolly on Broadway to every once in a while and get texts to say, I liked yours better, or yours better. I would get them like once every month and a half. I would just get like a text that was like, just saw the show. Made me remember yours. I liked it. It was really fun.
That's so nice.
I'm
And that's
not-
okay. That's okay.
And of course, Will Burton from our company got
Was
into
in it.
the
And-
Broadway production as
and Maddie Apple,
Ambrose,
too.
which was exciting.
Yeah.
Maddie Apple
Yes.
took over. She joined the company later on in it.
There are a lot of our
Fantastic.
company members in the chat. So hi everybody. We should do a reunion. I'm going to work on that.
Hi,
so,
Jack
Jack
Doyle.
Doyle. Hi, Jack. Oh, and I saw Frankie and Maddie and lots of people.
And
lots of people.
I have to tell you, because there was another production of Dolly playing at the Cape Playhouse in Cape Cod. And
Yes.
so Jeremy Morse and I drove over to see that one. Because he had friends in it, and Beth Level, who's a dear mate of mine, was playing Dolly, and we when we were coming back, it was wonderful. But I mean, it was totally different, a completely different production. And but when we were coming back, I said to Jeremy, I said the cast album of Giant had just come out, and I said to Jeremy, we'll play it on the way back. I said, it's very, very moving. You'll love it. And we were driving along, and we were both sobbing towards the end of the cast
that
album
song
of
at the end
Giant.
with Kate
And he
oh,
accidentally put his foot on the accelerator and started to speed, and we got pulled over by a cop. And we were both sitting there with tears streaming down our face. And this policeman said, can I ask where you've been? And we said, we've been to see a show. And he said, what was the show? We said, hello, Dolly. And he said, and where are you going? We said, we're working in a show. And he said, what's the show? We said, hello, Dolly. And he said, why are you so upset? We said, we've been listening to a show. He said, that's fine. Just keep driving. Be careful.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. All right. I promised we wouldn't keep you people all night, so we should move on. We have, of course, the number everyone's been waiting for. Hello, Dolly. We have a clip of it here. Yeah. Yeah. So I think let's look and then we'll talk. Okay.
Hello, well, hello, Dolly. Well, hello. Hey, look, there's Dolly.
Glad to see you, Hank. Let's thank my lucky star.
Your lucky star.
You're looking great, Stanley. Lose some weight, Stanley. I thought you did. I'm overjoyed and overwhelmed and overjoyed.
I hear the eyes see the lights stream, and you still get glances from us handsome men. So
Golly gee, fellas, find me a vacant knee.
that's only half the number. We're not
And what a
allowed to
number
film the
it
whole
is.
thing.
And someone says Klea's brilliant. I don't know.
Klea's brilliant.
You know what was really amazing about watching that was the nods that Kelli has to the original Gower Champion choreography without the passerelle, without the geography that is necessary to actually do it, the way that she's able to echo the original production, which is so familiar to people and in Goodspeed audiences, while making it totally new and totally her own. And Klea too, like the way that you interacted with the boys was different than anybody else, while acknowledging what has always been. And I think that's sort of what Goodspeed does best, right? Which is make every show feel brand new while part of a canon that exists.
Yes.
You know, I have to tell you, I can't remember who it was or the setting that this was, but somebody came up to me and said, "Did you ask one of those waiters if he was new here?" And I did, because there was one, she names everybody but one person. And so I think it was Frankie, and I said, "Oh, are you new here?" and this person noticed it and was like very emotional about it. She said, like, "You acknowledged him." She went into it made me so happy that it's those little moments that can really get to somebody. It's like, yeah, and that was just born out of necessity. Great. Also, Danny, there were no, we just went with the space and went with the boys. You know, there were no girls dressed up as boys. That happens all the time too, just to fill spaces.
Yeah, I was very not into that idea.
And it turned out perfectly. It just was perfect. And it would have been...
Could you imagine having more waiters in the ballet and that amount of space? They almost killed each other every night as it was.
I couldn't even come up. I never got to see the waiters gallop because I had to come upstairs on the 4-foot side.
Right.
And there's a trap door. You have to step up onto the stage. And so I was watching it with my head just like this on the floor, basically. And somebody came by and said, you cannot do that. Somebody will come by and kick your head. And I suddenly realized that somebody could come by and kick my head.
Yeah, don't do that.
I went right back down and waited my turn. But I mean, just thrilling, absolutely thrilling.
Yeah.
I'm sorry we couldn't see any of the waiters gallop because Kelli did an extraordinary thing. She started rehearsing it on the first day, and she built it on a daily basis. And she started off, you know, I mean, apart from the fact we had the best dancers in the country in our show, the boys and the girls, but she said to the boys, like, you know, what are your tricks? And so somebody could do flips, and she and if somebody could like walk on their hands, she'd wait until they perfected that, and then a few days later she'd say, "Can you walk on your hands up the stairs?" And then they'd spend a few days doing that, and then once they got that down, she'd suddenly say, "Okay, try walking on your hands down the stairs." And she kept challenging them each time, so that we got to watch this number growing and growing and growing all the way through rehearsal. So by the time we got into the theatre, those boys were superhuman. It was just extraordinary to watch, and that was Kelli's brilliance. It was
and no one got hurt, which was very good. I had someone fall off the stage in a different show.
Oh yes, you did. That'll be another Tuesday night. We'll do that another. Brett Spockman, our production stage manager. He's reminding us it was entirely in one, so entirely in the first wing.
Which is
it was like doing it on the passerelle that we didn't have.
Yeah. Amazing. Thanks for adding that.
The last Dolly with the with the cakewalk. I didn't realize, of course, because I was in the front of it, but how that looked with the boys going all the way up the stairs, so they had somewhere to go. That was very cool. Oh, yeah, I love it.
It was. All right. Okay, we're gonna move on. We got 2 more clips we want to show you. We wished we had the banana moment, Klea, our closing performance.
I wish I had been there. I heard about it.
Oh, it's legendary.
Is he with us tonight? Is Michael Price? Michael Price, are you with us tonight? You need to speak up if you were. So the scene in the courtroom where Dolly has brought her dinner with her, and she eats and she eats and she eats. I'll let you tell the story, Klea. What happened on closing performance?
Well, first of all, Michael Price was he seemed to really enjoy the show. Now Dolly has the beginning of Act 2 nice and calm because there's.
I'm going to interrupt you to remind people that this was Goodspeed's 50th anniversary season.
Yes.
And so we had a party all year long, and I think Michael was in that spirit all year long.
He would stop by during intermission. At the end of intermission, he would talk to me, and we would sort of talk through elegance. And then when I started to go, we go. And but he always visited me, which was like an honor. I got kind of a kick out of it. And somebody said, "Does that bother you?" I'm like, "I love it. What are you kidding me?" The guys, no. So he loved that eating scene. And on closing night, he made sure that he had a seat right above me in the balcony. I looked later, it said reserved. I mean, he reserved the seat.
Oh,
He
yeah.
planned it.
And right at whatever point towards the end, he lowered a banana. I'm eating and doing all my shenanigans, and he lowered a banana down to, and people were laughing, and I'm thinking, I mean, I had that thing down to like, a science. Here comes the people are laughing. All of a sudden I see this banana just hanging there. I look up and I see him with his little and somebody told me this story not knowing I was the person. And what I'm happy to know is it's out there and it's much better than it really happened. But I think in the story, this brilliant Dolly eats the banana and all this stuff, I doubt that's true. But but I did get the banana, and I said there better be a contract in here. And but it was an honor. I mean, it was like, come on, that kind of stuff's a blast. That somebody in charge would be so a part of a project and feel such pride and familiarity and have a sense of that moment that he would have the nerve to lower a banana into an eating scene. I mean, you gotta give it to him. It was pretty great.
Brooke Shapiro's with us. She said that was the best, hardest I've ever had to keep laughing. I'm sure it was hard for everyone on stage to keep laughing. So we're going to look at
never, ever made it through a show without breaking during that courtroom scene. Not once. Not once. Which I personally think is a delightful thing, but she couldn't do it. And then she'd get backstage and go, "Y'all, I tried."
Well, let's look at it.
Well, we don't have that, but we have the little piece of Harmonia Gardens because you guys had such rapport. Klea and Tony had such rapport, and we're clearly having so much fun that I was thrilled to find this.
And this scene, we spent hours and hours and hours with every prop and every little thing, figuring out, treating it like, I decided that this scene would be treated like a science experiment, that it had to be methodical in that way. And it really was fun that way.
Yeah. Just a little clip from the Harmonia Gardens.
Before we change the subject, there's one more thing I am going to say.
I don't want to hear it. And you're wasting your time, Dolly Levi. I won't ask you to marry me.
Oh, I suppose that means you want me to ask you? I'm sorry, Horace, I'm turning it down.
How can you turn me down when I haven't asked you anything?
It's no use arguing. I made up your mind. Here, let me cut your wings.
So good. Oh, God.
Oh, it's such a tease. I want to see more.
The whole thing.
How long did you rehearse that scene? Because that kind of stuff is so hard.
Hours, because it was a great thing for us to rehearse when Kelly was doing dance numbers. We'd go into the waterfall room and sit there and just go, get 3 lines, stop, do it again. 3 lines, stop, do it again. And we really were able to craft something that felt scientific in its way. And especially once we then out of the audience and knowing where the laughs were going to be, they had such a rapport with each other by that point. It was very exciting.
It was great.
It's a joy. Tony, I'm not talking like he's not here, but he is a brilliant actor. And when you have a wonderful, and listen, Tony and I would run into each other in the library all the time. We are the biggest theater geeks, and he out-geeks me. So what is comedy? What is a laugh? What is worth working for? What is worth honoring? All of that stuff Yeah, I had a scene partner that was even geekier than I was in trying to accomplish that, and a director that I just, that's so funny. That's so Amen. And Danny, who said to me with the solo eating scene part, he said, one thing you will never hear me say is speed this up. Because I'm the kind of person that's like, even when I sing a ballad, I'm convinced in my inner core I'm boring you. And so to just slow down and say, you know what, Autumn in New York got along just fine before you sang it, so just calm down. So that's something I've had to grow into, and Danny really helped with that with the eating scene, because it does take a certain courage actually to just eat.
It's true. And I have to admit that before this production, I had never seen Dolly. So I didn't really understand until we really like started to work it out, and that like the table from the Harmonia Gardens just stays on stage for some godforsaken reason. Like I was like, what? It's cleared, and what's happening? And I was not ready for that piece of sort of magical realism. Once we're in it, Klea was like, could I eat corn? And I said, well, duh. Yeah. I mean, why did you? If it wasn't getting a laugh, I would have told you to speed it up, but it never didn't.
The amazing thing about that scene is the table just staying there and everybody getting into the docket and looking back at Dolly. Really, I think that is a big piece of theatrical heritage that has to be passed down. Yeah. Because all that it says in the script is, by the end of the melee, everyone's in the docket looking at Dolly, who has been eating throughout the previous scene.
Right.
That's all it says. Now, I got to see this probably, I was about 7 or 8 years old, and the lady was hysterical. And I remember that moment so clearly, where she was seated and that she just kept eating. And then you read about it, and then I saw Carol Channing. But a lot of people just cut that. And it surprises me because it is such a fertile ground for like humor and taking a moment.
And also to see who Dolly really is, to see like what she's like when you're seeing the private moment of eating by herself and having to reconcile that with being in public, when you checked your teeth sort of surreptitiously in the spoon.
Yeah. I think it was I was really glad that it was, I don't know. I was just so glad we did it. Got all the dumplings. I mean, everything kind of like eventually went. It was great. It was great fun. I got lots of compliments on that.
It was great fun. It was.
One of my favorite compliments was from Lucy Arnaz, who said, "You reminded me of my mother in that scene in the Brown Derby, when she was trying to be natural and William Holden was sitting across the thing." And she said, you have what very few people dare to do, which was just eat. Not eat funny, just eat. And if you do that in a real time, it is just inherently funny. So I took that as a real compliment.
That is.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, listen, we have one last clip to share to take us out tonight. We could stay here all night, but we don't want to keep everyone all night.
Tony has to have breakfast.
Yeah.
The Vegemite toast is on its way.
Exactly.
Before we go, though, we want to thank all of our members, our subscribers who have donated your tickets to our Footlights Fund. We can't do this without you. We're surviving based on your donations, and thank you so much. And anyone who's listening, if you want to make a donation or would like to make a second donation, Goodspeed.org. You can click right on it, and we make it nice and easy for you. But we appreciate every dollar, every thought, the caring thought that we've gotten. So thank you so much.
And we really appreciate that our audience is tuning in with us for these Greatspeed segments, because it fills my heart every Tuesday night. Work this good is going to return. I just have no doubt about it. We just have to get through this, get our vaccine, give me a shot. And maybe that kind of shot for now. And we will be ready to go, because this work this too good cannot go away. So thank you guys. Danny, Klea, and Tony, stay on the line when we say goodnight because we'll be in the green room, in the virtual green room. We'll see you back there. Please join us here next Tuesday for Greatspeed with Billy Elliott. And my guest will be our executive director, Michael Gennaro, and the director of our Billy Elliott, Gabriel Barry. Watch your email for that invitation to register. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Kisses and stay safe, everybody.
Good to see you. Bye.
Bye. One last clip.
As my late husband, Mr. Levi, used to say, money, pardon the expression, is like manure. It's not worth a thing unless it's spread around, encouraging young things to grow. Anyhow, that's the opinion of the second Mrs. Horace Van de Gelder. Which reminds me, Ephraim, I'm ready for that sign.
Don't just stand there, that goes upstairs.
Well, as I was saying, Horace, I found you the ideal wife.
Dolly Gallagher, I don't need you to find me no ideal wives. If I want an ideal wife, I'll find one of my own. And I found one, and it's you. Ah, damn it! The front room, idiot. Go on. What are you waiting for?
Horace Van de Gelder, what is going on up there?
No, nothing. I just thought I'd have that front room done over in blue wallpaper.
Horace?
Oh, I know the old paper's not worn out yet, but that fella's just set up in business. He needs a good start. You see, Dolly, I've always thought that money, pardon the expression, is like manure. It's not worth a thing unless...
Thank you, Ephraim. Here's my hat, Horace. I'm staying where I'm at, Horace. Dolly